The Honourable Dr Brian Walker.
Thank you, President. I think around the world many words have been uttered listing the countless attributes of our late Queen. So I'd like to, on behalf of the Legalised Cannabis Party, give some personal feelings. Because you see, when we look at the loss that we have suffered, it can be seen at several different levels. From the government level, of course, the international relationships. But for myself, my first memories are of a woman born the same year as my mother. And I looked at a fairy princess as a toddler, seeing the pictures of an achingly beautiful young queen who was revered in my family. My family, of course, had served in war the command of her father. And here was the daughter ruling in a way which is quite remarkable. I think we find in this world little comparison can be found. But what I saw was of this fairy princess mother substitute, wearing, as my mother wore, long gloves at garden parties, the handbag, the hat, the dresses, all of which were mirroring what women at that age were wearing, including my mother. And so I had a fairy princess godmother, if you like. But in the course of time, what I discovered is through all the years, the decades that I have there, the various emotions I have gone through, the rebellious teenage years up to the kind of conservative political life that I'm in now. But I've found in all that time, I have learned from her three principles: service, duty, and sacrifice. Now, service, you see, was a promise alluded to, which has been remarkably kept. Her promise to serve until the end of her days. And she did this with immaculate grace. A guide to us all, indeed an example for me. When I swore an oath to live or die at her behest as a member of the military, that was simply the natural way. This is what happens. This is my sovereign. But it also went into the service as a medical practitioner. So 4 decades, if you like, of serving the population, indeed, as she would show us how to serve. And I follow that example. And now, of course, in this political realm, all of us having sworn, in one form or another, to serve our sovereign. So it seems very right and natural that we learn from a great exemplar. But not only that, but duty, following duty in service to the people, again, something we could all aspire to emulate. The difficulties which she then overcame in her life are things which we could follow ourselves, the difficulties we ourselves have experienced. And they always do emerge. And how do we respond? Can we respond with the same grace, the same facility that our late Queen showed us? And indeed, that's an example we should all seek to follow. So as another example of how our late sovereign has been leading us by example. And the third merit here is of sacrifice. The humility and dedication that the Deputy Leader of the House spoke of, we can heartily agree to. But we see in that she had a family life, which she had to sacrifice to some degree. She couldn't be the mother she needed to be to her children. She had people who would help her in that. She couldn't be the wife to her husband because she was in that position of being so much exalted above her husband, and the sacrifice, in fact, he had to make in that relationship in those times. And the social life. We can say that the social life isn't all about garden parties and eating cucumber sandwiches, but also having to go to places you don't want to be and socialise in ways which we would find difficult. And she showed us how to do that, and something that maybe in the other house people might learn how to do that as well. So we can appreciate all that she has done, but it also gives us opportunity in this house, bearing in mind the sorrow that we have all felt, and I have personally felt to some degree an inordinate amount of grief at the loss of someone who has been a part of my life since before I was born. I have known no other. But I can appreciate what she has done as an individual, as a servant, if you like, of my liege lord. And I give thanks for all that she has done for us, and thanks for the way she has shown for us in the future. And more than that is continuity, this magnificent spectacle of life well lived and the pageantry of handing on that, for me particularly, the breaking of the rod. The service is now finished, it's placed on the coffin, someone else takes over, and it happens smoothly, without any of the horrible things we might anticipate when people seek power. In fact, in this case, power was not sought. So we see the continuity now with our new king, leading us, one hopes, with the same degree of attention to duty and sacrifice that our Queen has shown. So I would say in this place, thank you, Your Majesty, and long live the King.